Hey everyone, I thought we'll do something different here today. Instead of nerding out on a very specific metric-driven topic, I wanted to share a piece of content that recently caught my eye. Viviana Faga, general partner at Felices Ventures, she talks about how software companies are losing their barriers to entry from a technological advantage perspective. And therefore, SaaS companies should focus on building other types of moats or barriers to entry to the platforms that they're building so they can build a long-term sustainable business. The first topic that Viviana touches on is shipping velocity. This is a means to stay ahead of your competitors or other industry peers by simply building products faster and innovating so that your competition is not able to catch up and compete with you. There's probably one right now that is capturing everyone's imagination, which is OpenAI, and is the product of choice, validating that this business has an $80 billion market. The advantage that OpenAI has been able to build for themselves is continuously building and innovating on product faster than its peers, making it a real competitive advantage for this business. The go-to-market motion of a business can act as a competitive advantage. It might be that you have an unfair access to customers, specifically your ideal customer profile, that you can sell your product or service to them better than anyone else in the market. When Amazon launched their video streaming solution, at the time, they had access to millions of customers having their email addresses, their credit cards all on file, and were able to market to them in real time, being able to outcompete existing market peers like a Netflix or an HBO. So you as an operator should think about which customers do I potentially have unfair access to and can create a go-to-market motion that is really unfair and is something that cannot be replicated by my peers and enabling you to outcompete them. A less tangible competitive advantage, yet one that can be very powerful, is brand. One of my favorite examples for this is a product called Loom. They're a screen recording solution that, for better or worse, has a fairly simple product. What Loom has done incredibly well is have made their name very synonymous with the product category itself. And every single time someone wants to create a screen recording themselves, that Loom name kicks into their brain straight away, which is really a strong competitive moat that Loom has been able to build against all the other solutions out in the category. Similar to brand, the actual story behind a business can also act as a competitive advantage. The fashion brand Patagonia, they have built a story around sustainability and having fair trade, environmentally friendly made clothing that is all about protecting the environment. And it's that core story, the founding story of the product, that has enabled this business to build that storyline that is really hard to replicate in the same authentic manner than Patagonia has done over the last 2 decades. A competitive advantage that is increasingly being talked about is data. My favorite case study of a business building a competitive advantage around data has to be Google. Google leverages the intent data every single time someone searches for something online and enriches that intent with end user demographic and location data to be able to target or position ads to end consumers in a hyper-targeted ways, creating unparalleled results for advertisers, given that they can put the right product advertisement in front of the right consumer at the right time better than anyone else because they have the data to do so. Another competitive advantage that Viviana is touched on here is the ROI at which a business can operate at. What is the cost structure in the way that a business can provide their product? An example of this would be a company like Spotify, which has the largest subscriber base for music streaming, and to such an extent that they can actually have a free user tier that listens to music at a cost-negative rate to ultimately drive the fuel or the growth of the business, which is effectively being impossible to replicate. Another competitive advantage that a business can use is by simply positioning themselves different in an existing market or a different use case with the same product. One of my favorite examples of this has to be a company called Manscaped, which is a below-the-belt shaving brand that has been able to outcompete players like Harry's or Gillette for below-the-belt shaving by simply positioning themselves dedicated to that use case. Manscaped's alternative approach of positioning themselves from a marketing and use case perspective has enabled them to build a very large market in an otherwise fairly commoditized category. I strongly agree with Viviana's takes that as the barriers to building software have come down drastically over the last decade, the competitive advantage that a business can build by having a technological advancement is on the application layer increasingly going away and is really only applicable if you're building frontier type AI models. Businesses should rather be very deliberate about building any of these other moats that I just talked about or these other competitive advantages that enables them to build sustainable businesses that can outcompete their peers into the long term. So as you are building and scaling your business, be mindful around which of these competitive advantages you can potentially implement today and be deliberate about growing these at their early days and pitching them to VCs, giving given that this is always something that we are looking out for. I hope you like this type of content. Please click the like button, subscribe, and we'll see you next time.